Everyone, aim for the one. Don't be the one who don't get the one. Sign up your name for the one. Dash with the phone and game for the one. Get the one. Jump on a plane for the one. Fly to the YouTube page for the one. Don't make a lame decision. Choose figure hard every day for the one.
Hello, this is Adam Webb from CSECEnglish.com, back with another quick banger. Today we'll be looking at 3 more 12th night CSEC English B questions. We're going to be looking at some exam type questions, and we'll just be brainstorming some ideas. We'll try to figure out what points we could use if we were to encounter a question like that. We will not be writing full essays in this video. We'll just be ideating and jotting down points. At the end of the video, if you make it to the end, just comment which one of these 3 essay prompts you would like to see transformed into a full essay. And then I can do an essay breakdown on that. But we definitely couldn't attempt 3 full essay breakdowns in one video. We'll just be looking at some ideation because I haven't done much 12th night content. So this is me kind of obeying my conscience a little bit. All right, let's start with this one. Antonio's loyalty in 12th night contrasts with the deception, disingenuousness, and surface level feelings displayed by other characters. Write an essay describing 2 instances of Antonio's loyalty and or honesty. For one of these instances, discuss how Antonio's loyalty and or honesty impacts another character's journey. Finally, examine how Shakespeare uses Antonio's loyalty as a lens through which to explore broader themes in the play. I like this question, partly because I wrote it. First, we'll break the question down. We have our prompt, which alerts us to the general theme that we'll be taking on. And then we have to look for our 3 parts, which will indicate the 3 points, or perhaps the 3 body paragraphs or 3 issues we have to tackle in the essay. So first, we have to describe 2 instances of Antonio's loyalty and or honesty. After that, we'll look at one of these instances and discuss how his loyalty impacts another character's journey. And for this third part of the question, it's not related to dramatic devices, which most of the questions would feature that. But sometimes they might have a question that deals with something else. So we're looking at an example of that kind of question. So here, we would examine how Shakespeare uses Antonio's loyalty as a lens through which to explore broader themes in the play. So we have to be prepared for some questions that are a little bit different from the average. Yeah. So that's why I chose this as one of the questions to look at. All right. So 2 instances of Antonio's loyalty. This is where you could just pause the video and brainstorm on your own. Think of some points, jot them down, and I won't be looking at every possible point. I'll just look at some points that I would use to write an essay. All right. So for me, one of the points would have to be Antonio's willingness to put himself in danger for Sebastian, right? So let's say Antonio's loyalty to Sebastian, and then we can get a little bit more specific and talk about how he saves Sebastian from the shipwreck and chooses to follow him to Illyria despite the risk that it would cause for him, Antonio. So Antonio's loyalty to Sebastian would be one instance that shows his loyalty. So let's say here, saves Sebastian from shipwreck, right? Another instance would be Antonio stepping in to save. This time he thought it was Sebastian. So let's put Sebastian in quotes, but it was actually Viola from a sword fight, right? So Viola, dressed as Cesario, was challenged to a duel, and Antonio, in service to Sebastian, stepped in to save who he thought was Sebastian, pretty much, because Sebastian and Viola look very much alike. So this is also a showcase of loyalty. So next we get to look at how Antonio's loyalty impacts another character's journey, and we have to think about which one of these instances would be a better pick for this part of the question. So looking back at the first instance, I would make this a little bit more general up here. So Antonio's loyalty to Sebastian, he saves him from the shipwreck, and he also accompanies Sebastian through Illyria. Right? He accompanies Sebastian through Illyria. And I would say that impacts Sebastian in that he gives him the support and care that he needs to navigate and survive Illyria, right? Which eventually lays the groundwork for his reunion with Viola. So let's say the impact on Sebastian. So impact on Sebastian. He receives the support he needs to navigate Illyria and eventually reunite with his sister. Right? So that's an impact on another character. That's fine. And this question also asks us to do something a little bit different, right? We have to examine how Shakespeare uses Antonio's loyalty as a lens through which to explore broader themes in the play. We can look at the theme of true friendship, right? That's a theme that is explored through Antonio's loyalty, and this could be contrasted, right? In your exploration of that theme, it could be contrasted with the more disingenuous relationships, right? So true friendship is a theme I'd probably look at there. Another possible theme, so this is possibility one. Another possibility could be this theme of sacrifice or self-sacrifice in sacrifice or service, right? And these themes are connected, but they're not exactly the same. You could focus on his willingness to sacrifice himself or to face danger in order to protect his friend. And there's also a case to be made that Antonio has deeper feelings to Sebastian than just that of a good friend. So we could look at a theme around that, which could be, let's say, platonic versus romantic love. And then you could look at some confusions around, how do we really characterize and label how Antonio feels about Sebastian? We could look at that and make it a thematic exploration. Of course, we'd only choose one of these. I'd probably work with friendship. That seems to be the easiest of the three to write about in, under exam conditions. What do you think? Let me know if you want to see this essay come to life. In the meantime, let's jump down to another question. The ending of Twelfth Night, while comedic, leaves room for interpretation on the nature of resolution and happiness. Write an essay analyzing the play's conclusion, focusing on two characters' fates. For one of these characters, discuss whether their ending can be considered truly happy. Finally, examine how Shakespeare's conclusion reflects the complexities of human desire and fulfillment. Another nice question here. So first we'll have to focus on two characters' fates. So what happens in the end? Focusing on the last part of the play, what is their resolution? For one of these characters, we're going to discuss whether their ending can be considered truly happy. And this is a tricky aspect of the question. I'll tell you why in a minute. And finally, we're going to look at how Shakespeare's conclusion reflects the complexities of human desire and fulfillment. So in this video, I'm looking at two questions that go beyond asking us just to discuss a dramatic device at the end. Just in case CSEC decides to shake things up. So this is where we are. Focusing on two characters' fates. Who will we choose? You can pause here and create your own plan and then unpause and see what I have in mind. Alright, so I think I'm going to look at Viola as my first character. So for Viola, her fate, let's say what I would focus on in terms of her fate, her end or her resolution is, for one, her true identity is revealed, right? Her true identity is revealed and she is united, right? United with Orsino, right? Romantically. They get together, Viola and Orsino. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. and we would have to do a little bit of analysis on that ending, right? Another character that I would look at would be Malvolio, right? Malvolio, we know that in the end he is humiliated and enraged because of the whole prank thing that happens, and he's probably the only character with a truly tragic end, I would say, and he does vow to take revenge. So let's say promises revenge. And you could do a little bit of analysis on that ending and how it impacts the play on as a whole, and how it makes the ending a bit less comedic and less light-hearted than you would probably want a Shakespearean comedy to be. It does cast a shadow on the more comedic and the happier resolutions that happen. So yeah, that is Malvolio's ending. That's Viola's ending. And for this one, I'm going to surprise you with what I'm going to focus on. I'm not going to be looking at Malvolio's ending here when looking at one character and discussing whether their ending is truly happy. That's because Malvolio's ending is obviously not happy. So what you want to do if you get a question like this is you choose a character whose ending seems happy on the surface, but the ending is actually not very happy. Otherwise, it just wouldn't make for a good essay. I would say that Viola's ending is not truly happy. You might be wondering, how could you say that? She gets the man of her dreams. Well, while there is some romantic fulfillment on her end, there is some ambiguity, right? Or some ambiguity around Orsino's affection. So remember, Orsino all along, he has respect for Cesario, but he loves Olivia. And then suddenly, with this identity reveal, he now loves Viola. He doesn't know anything about Viola, right? And Viola's happiness is contingent on how sincere Orsino's love is. And what do we know about the sincerity of Orsino's love? We know it doesn't exist, right? His whole love pursuit with, what's her name? Olivia is just one of him pursuing love for the sake or for the joy or thrill of pursuing love or pursuing someone. Him being this melancholic character who is in his own movie, right? We know that his love isn't a genuine kind of love. And so Viola's ending is probably one that's not as happy as it seems. Perhaps there is no possible stability in that relationship. It's not built on authenticity. So I would make that argument. I think it would make for an interesting essay. Finally, we have to examine how Shakespeare's conclusion reflects the complexities of human desire. And this is something, if you get this in the exam, you'd have to take a minute or two to really break down, what that even means. I think the main thing for me would be the uncertainty, or let's say fluidity, or even the stupidity of human desire. And I could tie this back to this paragraph here, where I'm highlighting the fact that what we desire is not some fixed construct, but it's something that seems to be very, very movable, very, very fluid, and very, very uncertain. We look at Orsino and his desire for love, right? He loves, or he's in love with Olivia. But at the same time, as soon as Viola becomes the available person, right, the person who can be captured, he's in this hunting game, his love moves to her. And so that raises some complicated questions in terms of desire. Do we really know what we want as human beings? Or is it that our desires are more tied to whatever emotion we're feeling, at the moment? Another thing we could look at is maybe something around, let's say, desire and its relationship to, let's say, fate or destiny, right? Perhaps some people are destined to not get what they want, are destined to live a life that leads to an unhappy ending, right? When you look at Malvolio, tried as he might have tried, he ended up not getting what he wanted. So perhaps some people just cannot get what they want, no matter what. while others seem to somehow gain something in the end, regardless of any kind of like real or logical effort. Looking at Orsino, Orsino ends up with like the most sensible character in the play, right? Viola, like the greatest character. Orsino gets her on like a last minute desire. And would you say that he would have worked towards that desire, right? Or is it that, being a duke, being a noble, he was just destined to get whatever he wanted, in the end? So we could look at things like desire and how it relates to the fate or destinies of characters. I would personally stick with this one, the uncertainty of human desire, how inconcrete our desires are, and I would probably use Orsino as my main illustration of that. And so yeah, this is an essay I could write in 5 paragraphs. There's probably no need to split any of these aspects into 2 different paragraphs, unless I find that I really have a lot to write about Viola. And so I would give her own paragraph and give Malvolio his own paragraph. And then 1 paragraph here, 1 paragraph here. Yeah, what do you think? Let's jump down to another one. And I really love this question. I say that about every question, don't I? Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Malvolio, Act 2, Scene 5. Write an essay discussing 2 characters' relationship with greatness in Twelfth Night. That's our part 1. For one of these characters, analyze how this quote reflects their journey towards or away from greatness. That's our part 2. And we have a more standard type of question here with asking something about a device at the end. Finally, choose one dramatic or narrative device and discuss its effect in the play's exploration of ambition. Okay, so 2 characters, relationship with greatness, obvious pick. I'm going to work with Malvolio and his relationship with greatness. But I'm also going to look at Viola. Yeah, an interesting pick. Malvolio isn't so interesting because it's an obvious pick, and you kind of have to choose Malvolio for a question like this. So his relationship with greatness, he is consumed by ambition, right? And we know that ambition is kind of the desire for greatness, right? So he is consumed by his ambition, and we could look at some details. He believes that marrying Olivia would elevate his status, his social status. And he believes that he's definitely in the running to marry Olivia, which is kind of ridiculous. But that's some dramatic irony. He doesn't see it as being ridiculous. So we could look at that as being his relationship to greatness. And, he interprets the forged letter as some kind of validation of his potential of, being with Olivia and becoming elite. And we would have to kind of look at the outcome of all of this, which is, the humiliation in the end. And he does not achieve that greatness. So that is his relationship with greatness. What about Viola? Viola, in contrast to, what's this guy's name? Malvolio, does not seek out greatness. So let's say she achieves greatness naturally through intellect and character, right? Her character, her ability to, think on her feet, to navigate this new and strange land, and her intelligence, she's playing a role in Cesario, and she's navigating through a number of different characters and situations. And through this, we can say that Viola becomes great, a great character, a great person, and she eventually gets what she wants in the end, even though we can question whether or not that is going to last. But, by the time the play ends, she gets the man she loves, right? So we could say that Viola does have, a positive relationship with greatness. And we wouldn't have to contrast these characters, but it would be interesting if we could manage to point out some good contrasts. I would definitely do that. Another contrast is that Malvolio's relationship to greatness is a selfish exploration, right? He wants to become great because, he wants a higher life, and all of his actions are towards a selfish goal, and they're done in a selfish way. Whereas Viola actually serves Orsino, and she serves him in a self-sacrificial way, because while she wants to, confess her love for him and so on, she's dedicated to his love for another woman. So she's serving his cause. And it is through that kind of selflessness that she ends up, achieving some greatness. And we would have to look at how this quote relates to one of these characters' relationship with greatness, right? For one of these characters, analyze how this quote reflects their journey towards or away from greatness. So we know that if we're going to look at Malvolio, it would be away from greatness. And if we look at Viola, it would be towards greatness. So the question is, which one do you think would make a more interesting paragraph? I would work with Viola. So I would say for Viola, the part of the quote that that Viola really connects with is the part about achieving greatness, right? So according to Malvolio, some people have greatness just cast upon them. They just get lucky. They just get handed greatness. But Viola would have worked for her version of greatness. And so I would look at how this part of the quote about achieving greatness relates to her, her journey towards greatness. So her greatness comes by virtue of, her virtues and her service and her intelligence. And at the very end, we could just mention that contrast. We wouldn't have to focus on it since we're focusing on just one character. We could draw the contrast that Viola's eventual, the revelation of her identity and her subsequent union with Orsino shows an achievement on her side. Shows the achievement of greatness, right? She gets what she's out to get. And the contrast would be that Malvolio, who thinks that greatness is thrust upon him, does not achieve his greatness, but instead is met with humiliation. And finally, we'll have to look at one dramatic or narrative device and discuss its effect on the player's exploration of ambition. For reasons discussed thus far, we could look at contrast and look at different characters and how their journey or how their relationship with greatness contrast. But that's something we probably would have touched on by the way so far. So if we want to add something new now for this third body paragraph, we could look at dramatic irony, right? And when it comes to 12th Night, dramatic irony is a huge device that is connected to a lot of different things. So you might notice, in various essay brainstorms, this comes up. And the dramatic irony I would tie to Malvolio's pursuit of greatness, right? So in terms of dramatic irony, we can see that Malvolio is not actually moving towards greatness, right? He's not actually getting any closer to achieving his ambitions, but from his perspective, he thinks that he is. And so the dramatic irony, it indicates something about the exploration of ambition, in that a character or a person, because we can extrapolate this and talk about real life. A person may think that they're headed in the right direction, may think that they're achieving their goals, may think that they're becoming great or that they're already great or destined for greatness. But others who are looking from the outside might have a clearer perspective of the treadmill that person might be on. Others might be able to recognize easily that this person is not going where they think they're going, right? And we could make a nice paragraph out of that. And of course, we could mention the letter, how Malvolio reads it and thinks it is validating his pursuit of Olivia and his worthiness of her, while the characters who set up the prank obviously know that this is not so. Yeah, I think that could make for an interesting essay. And that's it for this one. Tell me which one of these essays you'd like me to actually write, right? Essay number 1, that's about Antonia's loyalty. Essay number 2, this is the one about the ending of the play, the resolutions. And essay number 3 is Malvolio's quote about greatness. All right, that's it. See you in the next one.
No, a CXC time. Execute the exam like a EXE file. It a go be less free time. Head to the booker, you will be left behind. And the realest me find. Realest youths where you kill it in a real time. Eat exam like mealtime. Mine a fish sharp like knife where you peel pine. What your name? 1 1. Where you live? 1 town, 1 land. What your age? Just one word me understand man. 1. What your age? Just one word me understand, man. One, happy get the one. Happy get the one. Me have a plan. Me have a plan to get the one. Happy get the one. Yo, happy get the one. Happy get the one. Me have a plan. Nobody ask me where me from. Exam done from Jamaica to Japan. Me get the one.